Alright, welcome back. Today we are going to go over the Blueberry Moon at-home hair coloring kit. I'm going to show you guys what comes in the kit. I'm going to give you a little bit of direction, and I'm going to kind of show you some tips and tricks to be able to kind of apply your hair color better at home. So, with the kit that you are purchasing through Blueberry Moon, you're going to get a few different things. You're going to first get some tools. You are going to get a hair color brush, a professional one, so it's a smaller one. Usually we use quite a bigger brush when we're working in the salon, but since we're doing it at home on ourselves, these smaller ones seem to be a little bit easier to handle. So you're going to get one of these. You're going to get some hair clips for yourself that you can ready up with hair color, not have to worry about your own. We're also going to throw in some of these kind of baby ones. These ones can help with taking small sections. More clips the better. You are going to find in your kit this larger bowl that is going to have your developer in it. So this is what's going to activate the color. This is also going to double as your mixing container for your hair color. And then depending on what kind of color you're doing, if you're doing a permanent color or if you're doing demi color, you're going to be getting in your kit your demi, which is going to be a liquid, or your permanent color, which is going to be a cream-based color. They will both be, depending on which one you get, will be measured out for you in your specific formula, as will the developer. So all you're going to have to do is take one, dump it into the other, and mix it up. So it's going to come really easy for you. And if you asked about doing your eyebrows as well, which some people do like to color their eyebrows, we are going to include a spoolie for you to put the color on with your eyebrows, and we also are going to include a pair of gloves for you. So that's all that comes in your kit, and then this video as well. So I'm going to walk you through some of the steps on how to do your hair color. Permanent color is going to come in a cream base. It looks like this. Depending on what your actual color formula is, it will depend on what color this is. Sometimes the cream comes out white. If there's like darker streaks in it, that's okay. That's just it being oxidized and exposed to air. Since you're getting this home and it's already been poured for you, that's totally normal. If there's like those dark flecks in there, everything's going to come out fine, don't worry. So depending on what your color formula is, you might have just one color in here, you might have multiple in here. That will be your cream color. And then if you're doing a demi, so if you're someone like me that doesn't permanently color the hair, doesn't cover grays, I just like to make my hair look a little bit richer without permanently changing my hair color, you're going to be getting our demi, our soft color. So this is going to be more of a liquid consistency. And then you're going to be getting your developer, which is a cream that comes in here. And so these are going to be pre-measured for you, which is going to be super, super easy. Before we start, make sure your hair is going to be brushed completely through. We want to get all tangles out, make sure everything's really easy for you. Another thing that I like to have on hand when I'm coloring my hair is a comb of some sort. It doesn't have to be a rat tail like this. It could be any comb that you're comfortable with getting hair color on. The hair color will wash off. If it's a lighter comb, it might stain a little bit. So use something that you don't mind getting hair color on. And I always just like to keep a wet brush handy for anything that I need. So for doing hair color, it's always easiest to be able to apply the neater that you try and apply it. So we're going to section off our heads. The easiest way, no matter how you wear your hair, is going to be parting it down the middle. So this is going to be if you are planning on coloring your entire head, so your root area all over your head. If you feel like after watching this video and watching me apply, it might be a little bit too hard for you to do your whole head, the back, having your arms up, what you can do is you can always just do your hairline and then where your part is. So if you're somebody that parts the same way all the time, like this, my hair doesn't like to part, and this is how you wear your hair every single day, and the only place that you really see grays are like right here or right around the temple, and you're not really worried about the rest of your head, you can go through and just paint the color on here and around your face on those parts and not do the rest of your head if you don't feel comfortable doing it, or if you feel like it's going to be too hard for you or you don't have somebody to help you. So if we are planning on doing all of our roots all over our head, we are going to start by parting our hair into quadrants. So that means I'm going to start by parting down the middle just like this. At this point, what I like to do is then go from the top all the way down so you're parted straight down the back. So your hair is half and half like you have pigtails. So now what we're going to do is we're going to take this side of our head, we're just going to clip it back, make it easy for ourselves, right? So we're just going to clip this side of hair away, and we're only going to work with one side at a time. So after we've clipped our hair in half, what we're going to do is we're now going to split this in half. So what I like to do is go where your ear is and go to the kind of like the end of where your ear is, and we're going to part from the top of our head down to that part. Sometimes it's easier if I just stick my finger in or stick my comb in, go all the way up to the top of my head. So can you see where this is parted? This is the back. It's kind of going to be where your hairline starts to curve. So this is going to be considered our front part, and we can clip this forward, and then this back part we are going to clip back. So we're just going to work at one section at a time. It's going to make it a lot easier for us managing the hair. So now I have this side clipped away, I have this side clipped in half like this, and the front is down. Now I'm going to go back on this side and feel where my ear is. If you guys get your hair cut by me, you'll be familiar with this parting, because this is usually how I'm parting when I'm cutting your hair. So, and then I'm going to clip the back away. I like to do these 4 quadrants first before I get anything started, because then my hands are clean and I don't have to worry about touching the ends of my hair then with gloves that are dirty. Another good thing to have on hand is just a rag, because if you do need to touch on your ends of your hair, and your hair is maybe a different color on the ends, if you have like blonde or anything, you can just keep wearing the same pair of gloves and then just wipe them off like you would if you were like cooking in the kitchen. So now my hair is parted into these nice little quadrants, and this is how we are going to start to applying color. So before we get started from actually applying color, I'm going to show you a few things. So if you have a cream color, since I'm not doing this on myself, I'm just going to mix up a little bit just to show you the consistency. So when you plop it all together in this big container, it's going to look like this. Your cream's going to be solid, and your developer is a liquid consistency. And as you start to mix, you can see that it kind of starts to break up and it looks a little chunky. You just have to continue mixing till this becomes like a homogeneous mixture. You want it to be nice and creamy and smooth, almost like a thick conditioner, or almost like a pudding consistency before you put it in your hair. So if you're not fully mixing and it still looks really clumpy, you're not going to get an even application, because all of your color is not completely broken down and mixed in together. It's kind of like mixing flour into egg. You want all of those like little lumps to be gone. So continue mixing this. So as you can see, it kind of looks like a creamier mixture. So that's what you're going to want to look for when you're mixing your permanent hair color at home, is a creamy mixture like this. And the cleaner you can be, the better. I know this is going to be messy for all of you guys, because this is probably your first time doing this at home, and that's okay. You can go through and wipe your brush off. The cleaner your brush is, the less chance of transferring color onto other spots of your head, the better. So for cream color like this, our permanent color, when you're going to apply, you don't need to completely load up the brush with color to slap it on. All you're going to really need to do is dip just like the front tip half of your brush in there and pick up just like a little bit of color like this. This is probably always going to end up being messy, and that's okay. But if you can see, I just have a little bit of color on there, and then that's what I'm going to go in. I'm going to dab and I'm going to paint. I'm going to show you more with the color that I'm using on myself, but you're not going to need to load your brush up with more than this amount of color for each little section that you do. The less that you use, the better in a particular sense. So you want to saturate where your roots are, but you don't need to overload it with color. You also just want to make sure you are getting even coverage. You want to look like it is covered, because in the end, if you run out, there's nothing that, you're going to have to use more color. So the less that you use and having a little bit left over, you can go back and resaturate through the end, versus using it all on the top front of your hair and then not through the rest and being out of color. So I would say go a little lighter on the color when you start. We're going to set this to the side and I'm going to mix up the color for my hair. Alrighty friends, so we are going to mix up the color that I'm going to use on my head. I do like to use a demi. So again, the difference between demi color and permanent color, demi is not going to cover grays. It is not going to permanently change my hair color. It's just like a color coating that goes on top of your hair, similar to a toner, usually lasts 6 to 8 weeks. So this is something that I like to use since I don't like to color my hair. I don't want to naturally change the color of my hair in case I do want to change my color. This is what I like to use. We are going to use what is your formula at the salon though. So if you're getting a demi, if you're doing a demi color all over, or if you're getting a toner, your soft color is going to come in this liquid form. It is a oil suspension, so I typically like to say shake it up because this is all going in one container. I think it's going to be fine because it's not coming straight out of the bottle. It is infused with olive oil, so it's going to be super slippery. We're going to take this whole container, because this is going to be the portion we pre-mixed for you, and dump it into the pre-mixed container of developer solution. So we are going to pour that in just like this. Take my brush and kind of get all that out. And then I am going to mix this up. So this, unlike the permanent color, is still going to remain a liquid. It is going to get slightly thicker and turn into almost a jelly consistency, so it doesn't drip all over you, which is really nice, but it's not going to be that thick, creamy pudding consistency that a permanent color is. And again, you'll see the texture kind of change, same thing with the permanent color, and we just want it to be a nice, even consistency throughout. And you can see now, it's kind of a thicker, you see that like jelly, kind of slime consistency. So that's going to help it not move around on your head. You're not going to have any drips anywhere. Alright, so now I feel like this color looks consistent throughout. So I am going to now start applying. I am going to start with the front of my head, and if, like I just did, got color on my glove, touched my face. So what you can do in this instance, before you start, if you're doing a dark color like me, you can take a gel or a conditioner, and it's what we call basing, and kind of go along your hairline. So I'll take a little bit of conditioner like that, and around my hairline where I don't want it to make it onto my face, I'll just go like this, if you can see, and rub it on my face. Just in case you have some on your glove or a piece of hair falls down, you have your hair, your skin is absorbing this and not absorbing the hair color. So we can go ahead and do that as well. You can do it around the back of your neckline if you care to do that as well. So I always like to start by taking my brush and wiping off all the excess from mixing to start with it as clean as possible. What I will do the same way with the permanent color is I'm only going to pick up, if you can see, color only goes to there. So my whole brush is not going to be completely loaded with color. I just want what I'm going to use on this first application. You don't need to use more because it's just going to make it messier for you, and the whole point of this is controlling the hair to be able to apply. So we are going to start right at our part line. So I am just going to touch down where my part is with this brush and drag it. So imagining my roots are this long, which they are much longer, that will be my first application there. So if you can see, it is nice and coated, but there's not too much excess on there. I can tell that my hair is saturated. So I'm going to go back in for a second dip, and then I'm going to go further back, and we're just going to start at the same place, right at the scalp at the root, put the brush down and drag it to move that product around. So can we all see how saturated this is? It doesn't look like it's too much. It doesn't look like there's any product that's sitting there or dripping, but the hair is nice and evenly colored. So this is where these little clips are going to come in handy. Do you see where my hair keeps springing over? Flip it down. It doesn't really matter how you look. We just want to make sure this goes on nice and neat. So at this point, what we're going to do is we're going to take our brush, wipe off the excess again. Now we're going to use the tip of the brush to go about 1/4 of an inch or even less, depending on how coarse your hair is and how dense it is, over and make a new parting. So do we see how little bit of hair I have there? We are going to flip this over to the other side and gently lay it down. We're not going to smash it down. We're just resting. You can do that in 2 parts. Go all the way back till you hit where your parting is. And you can see some of the color did transfer through that layer of hair, which is good. That means you're evenly saturated. If it's still sopping with color here, you are using too much color. Now we're gonna repeat the same thing again. A little bit of color on the brush, go in at the root, tap down your brush, and drag that color over. Again, at the root, drag it over. All right. At this point, you can go and touch up around your face. I like to go back and do the complete hairline when I'm done to make sure that I get it all. I do color all the way to the hairline, but I like to go a secondary trip all around on the end just to make sure everything's colored. So now we're going to go in with our tip again. Move that parting over about a 1/4 inch. Take our color, put it in, drag it down. And if you feel like some of this isn't saturated, you can always use the extra that you have on your brush to just kind of dab on the other side. So, alright, and I am going to continue on this quadrant, and you can watch me. So once you get down to like where your ear is, if you don't feel comfortable putting this color on, feeling like it's gonna drip down to your face, you can kind of hold it out with the tension at an angle and go like this and just paint it on. And then make sure when you flip the hair up, you dab it here to make sure that it is fully saturated. So, this is when I go around my hairline, get all my baby hairs, color this off. Make sure I get around my ear. And this whole quadrant is now finished. That just took me a few minutes. And if you see any color, you can go ahead and wipe it off. If you have that conditioner on your face, it'll come off nice and easy. Just gonna paint it on my hairline. So at this point, what I'll do is I'll take all this hair that got flipped over. Nice that we clipped it down here. And I will take that, and if you want to make it easy for yourself, you can just make a little bun, clip it out of the way. So my hair is all one color, so I don't mind if any of the color transfers onto the end. If not, what you can do is you can just let this free hang. Another reason why I said to have an extra comb is if you feel like some of your hair is a little bit faded from when you had your color done last, what you can do is after you've applied thoroughly at the root, you can take this comb and then just lightly go in and distribute that color a little bit further down on your hair shaft, and it's just going to blur that line of demarcation where you applied and resaturate through the parts of your hair that might need a little bit of color redeposited where your roots were last. So we're just going to go like this and comb through. So this is going to be, again, if you have all one color hair, if you have highlights or something in there, it will kind of soften your line of where those highlights are. Just be careful how much you drag down your root color. Otherwise, you should be totally fine doing this. So I am going to continue on the other side of my head doing the same thing. So you can see I'm dragging it kind of down to here because I know that's actually where my roots are. So it's really going to always depend on your own hair color. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take all of it, clip this all in a nice little bun for myself. And then we'll get started on the back. Okay, so the hardest part is doing the back. I'm going to turn around and try to lead you how I do it myself. This is going to be the part that is always going to be the hardest. It's hard for me as a hairstylist. So we already have our back parted into two sections. And what I like to do is honestly feel with my hands. So when you're going to start at the top and you're going to part it, I'm going to turn around and try to show you. I'm going to paint the top. I'm going to part the same way that we did before, flip it over, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my other free hand to feel where that parting is, to know where my roots are, and then paint as much as I feel like needs to be there. So let's see if we can show you. So I'm going to paint the top, and I'm going to turn around, and I'm going to take a parting and feel where I feel like that parting is, and I'm just going to paint on where I feel like my roots are. Take a look and look in the mirror. You want to do it that way and paint it on like this, and then you're going to travel down your head the same way that you did in the front. So this is where combing through is going to really help if you feel like you missed a spot. Also, what I said in the beginning, if you only really see your grays around your front face line and your part line and you don't feel like you want to have to do this or need to do the back, you can definitely go ahead and just do that and skip doing this area as well. I'm going to continue on and do the rest. Alright, so now we have one last side to do. Clean up my station a little bit. Make sure we get around the back part line as well. Again, you don't have to comb through it like I am. I'm only combing through it because I am planning on coloring root to ends on my hair. So, we are done with applying at the root. So at this point is when I will go back in and I will do my hairline as well as eyebrow. Alright, so if you can see, I am going to go back now that all of my color is applied. Take a little bit of color. It will oxidize. So this has been about 15 minutes this took me. I've done this before, so it probably will take you longer. Your color is going to start changing. The longer your color is exposed to air, it will start changing color or oxidizing. So don't be afraid if your color started as white and ended up being purple or an olive green color. That is totally natural, totally normal. If it looks much darker, as I'm sure you guys already know, we've told you this when you were in the salon, that's what's going to happen as your color sits on. So I'm going to go back. I have little baby hairs here. Some people might have gray. And I'm just going to go and resaturate my hairline and make sure everything has color on it, because that's the last thing you want is like one little bright guy in front. I don't mind if I have a little color in my face. I'd rather get everything covered. Then I always keep a wet paper towel on hand that if I need to clean up. There we go. So now comes the part that if you are planning on coloring your eyebrows. So if you color your eyebrows or get your eyebrows tinted when you come in, we typically use the color that we're using on your head. For the most part, it's going to be the same color. Sometimes it's slightly different depending on what your hair color is. We'll be able to accommodate you if you have your formula on file. So we are going to give you a spoolie that's like this. It's just a mascara wand with nothing on it. I personally like to bend the tip a little bit. I find it easier for me to see. So what you're going to do is your color will be processing. Demi-eyes like this process for 20 minutes. A permanent color processes anywhere from 30 to 45 minutes. It will be specified in your bag when you get your information, when you get your kit, how long your hair color needs to process on your head. So we typically only put color on for the last 20 minutes. So let your color sit on, put this on. If you plan on rinsing your color out in like a sink, that's going to be the easiest way not to stain anything. If you have like a stainless steel bigger kitchen sink, that would be awesome. If you feel like you can't lean over or do that, you definitely can do it in the shower. The only thing with that is we just need to make sure that you're not going to get anything in your eyes. So completely lean back. If you have a shower head, do it that way. Eyes always wash off with a wet paper towel or a wet towel before you get in the shower or before you stick your head in the sink. The last thing we want is for you to get color in your eye. So last 20 minutes, we're going to do the eyebrows. So I go and I just dip my little spoolie into this color, wipe it off again, we don't want too much. And then I'm going to go in and I'm just going to pretend like I'm putting like a clear mascara on my eyebrows. Already tell it's going to be drippy. We are just going to, these are really long, can you tell they need to be trimmed? We are going to just make sure we get all those hairs. You don't need to do anything crazy. Don't color outside of where your actual eyebrows are because it will color your face hair. I just have very large eyebrows, which I'm very fortunate for. So oh, see, even we are messy sometimes. So I'm just gonna wipe that. Wiped it off some of my brow. Go back in. Okay. Lovely. So this is how you're gonna look sitting at home. Let your color process, let your brows process. I'm gonna let these sit for 20 minutes. I'm gonna let my color sit. At this point, you should be, if you're doing all of your roots, completely done with your color. So that should be just enough for you to do all of your roots. Sit back and relax, and then I'm gonna come back and check in once I have done my hair. Hi, so I'm back. I have washed my hair, and I definitely would recommend, if you can, turning your head to the side, sticking it in the sink just so you can control, especially if you have like a nozzle in the sink, kind of like how we do at the shampoo bowls. If not, you can definitely do it in the shower. Just make sure to tilt your head all the way back. Cover your face like this. Make sure to get like your nozzle, if you have it, right up to your scalp to try to rinse it out. We just want to really, really avoid trying to get any in the eyes. Make sure you get all the color off your scalp. If you run into any itchiness or irritation once your hair is dry, go ahead and wash your hair again. Most times when you have irritation is because there is product left on the scalp, so make sure you really, really scrub. I'll include a secondary pair of gloves for when you go in shampoo if your hair is darker, just to make sure you don't get your hands stained or anything like that. Everything should come out of the tub, especially if you just rinse right away. As you can see, I have a little bit of staining, but you guys are probably all used to that. My eyebrows are nice and tinted. I only left mine on for about 10 minutes because I do one of the darkest shades. I do like almost a black color, so I took mine off after about 15, and as you can see, I don't really have much staining on my skin. I put a little bit of foundation on, but you can still tell. I got some on my neck, which pretty much came off in the shower. I just did my normal cleanser scrub in the shower, and that usually helps as well. But your hair should be nice and silky and healthy and back to normal by then. In the package, I am also going to include my personal business card. The salon email and my email address will be on there as well. So if you do get home and you have any questions or holdups, I will be checking my emails. You can also email Jenny, who you made the reservation with initially. So we're both going to be around to help. You won't be alone. And I hope you guys enjoy. I hope this gets you through, and hopefully you guys are staying home, staying safe. If you're doing this because you have to work, we definitely appreciate all those people that are out there still working. And hopefully we'll be able to get back into the salon and see everybody soon because we really miss everybody. All right, enjoy, and this was your at-home hair color tutorial.